What is good, team? Welcome back to the channel. I feel like it's been forever since we did a gym vlog. It's been a crazy few weeks. If you guys have been following along on the vlogs, we're over in obviously Poland for the shows. We're in Berlin doing some traveling, seeing some friends. We recently got back to London. Life's just been crazy with clients competing. If you guys saw, my client Phil won his FMG Pro card after 3 attempts over the last 3 years working with me, so that was very exciting. And just generally been busy. It looks like we might be going to Portugal next week randomly for a trip. So it's just kind of been a bit crazy, but we're back in gym vlogs, maybe less frequent, but we're still doing them. We have officially moved into our first actual growth phase, with the health phase coming to an end as of last week. So it was about 4 weeks of just kind of getting calories back to maintenance, reducing pharmacological inputs, and just recovering physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually after a big sort of 6, 7, 8 months of prep almost it worked out to be. And we're moving back into our sort of higher volume, higher farm, higher food phase now, off the back of that recovery phase where training volume was lower, pharmacological agents were less, food was lower. So just an opportunity to start growing now, which is exciting. So basically, new training program after looking at previous stage picks from the Poland Pro Show, figuring out what we need to do to make the improvements that we need to be in order to be competitive in the pro status. Across the board now, higher frequency of upper body training, so pretty much 5 days of upper body training with lower body just tacked onto the back of those upper body sessions. So it's going to be an exciting block. I'm very excited to jump into this one and show you guys how it looks. I'll be posting all of these workouts probably every week so you guys can see the full mesocycle across maybe a 4 or 5 week period because I've got 5 sessions in total. But kicking this pull session off, day 1, gym's very busy today, so should have been starting with bent over rows, but starting with single arm lat pull downs. All right, exercise number 2. 2 sets, 10 to 12 reps here of the high to low hammer strength lat pull down. So when we're looking at pull down movements, it's almost like an upper back, pull down, upper back, high row, high to low row. So in terms of overall back development, obviously we want stuff in that sort of vertical pulling plane. We want something in that sort of 45-degree pulling plane. And then we do want something in that horizontal pulling plane. So it certainly pays dividends, kind of have all your pulling movements from a variety of different angles in order to fully develop the back. And I think something to note of importance when it comes to back training specifically, and movements like this, it's really not about how heavy you lift. It's really not about how much momentum you can use in order to lift the load from A to B. It's really about how much tension you can drive to the back, specifically the areas that you're trying to target. So for this, I'm really trying to target sort of that mid-back thickness. So I'm really trying to emphasize a big stretch there through the rhomboids, through the mid-traps, the lower traps, and then emphasizing a big squeeze down as I get into that bottom position where I contract under load, which is arguably the most important point for hypertrophy, rather than just lifting load from A to B. Wow. Right, so if you are not the size of Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Branch Warren, insert former IFBB Pro Olympians, you have no business doing bent over rows with 2, 3, 4, 5 plates with terrible technique, limited range of motion, jerking the bar up and down and slamming on the floor, and you're done for 4 or 5 reps. Instead, if you do want to get a thicker, bigger back, you should be doing barbell rows, but you should be doing them like this. Dead stop bent over barbell rows, where we are utilizing a dead stop at the bottom to minimize momentum in an effort to keep range of motion standardized, in an effort to keep technique standardized, and it really humbles you because you cannot lift very heavy when you do it properly. So if you want to grow your back, stop fucking around, stop using shitty techniques, and stop using loads that are far too heavy for you to be able to handle effectively to grow muscle. All right, we are onto our last back movement of today. So we've had 2 vertical pulling movements, 2 horizontal pulling movements, one of which was unsupported, my bent over barbell rows, and number 2, which is this chest supported row variant here. So across the session, quite a broad spread of angles that we're trying to hit for the upper back and for the lats as well. And then we'll have a secondary pull session later in the week where we'll do this in reverse, probably more of a primary vertical pull, which will be more compound in nature, and some more isolated horizontal rowing stuff like single arm cable rows, things of that nature. But just one hard working set here, aiming for around 10 to 12 reps. So I think an important point to bring up, especially this being week 1 of this new mesocycle, is around load selection and proximity to failure in the initial weeks of your program. Week 1, you should not be going to fail. You should not be absolutely burying yourself. You should be staying around maybe 2-3 reps in reserve on most movements in order to just really refine your technique, really standardize your ranges of motion in an effort to lay the foundation. So after that first, second week, then you should be prioritizing load progressions and or rep progressions where you get a little bit closer to failure. Once technique, once range of motion, once execution is really, really locked in, and that allows you a longer runway for progression throughout the later weeks in that mesocycle in order to continue to progress for long periods of time rather than having to deload every 3, 4, 5 weeks. You could probably stretch your program out maybe 6, 8, 10, 12, even 16 weeks if you are still making progress every single week. Alrighty, to wrap this session up, we had the line lateral raise, just one hard set. The goal there is to progress it for as long as I can, just with that one set. And obviously, being like a single joint isolation movement on a cable, for a small muscle group, it's pretty hard to progress in terms of load over a longer period of time. So like we'll get reps 1 week, we'll get load 1 week, but there will become a time where just load progressions aren't feasible anymore. So we will start adding on extra volume via sort of rest pauses, lengthen partials, those types of things. And then to finish off, we've got 2 exercises, one for the rear delts, one for the lateral delts. We've got our standing cable crucifix raise and our rear delt cable flies. Now, you'll notice I'm doing this as like an alternate paired set. So I'm basically going straight from cable lateral raise straight to the rear delt fly in like an antagonist paired set type setup. And I think this is one thing to really bring up around like advanced training techniques, they used to be called. But I think more so when we look at them now, we call them sort of efficiency techniques. So they allow you to get the same amount of hypertrophy just in a much shorter time frame. So when you're in a pinch for time, using something like a pairing where you're just doing opposing muscle groups back to back with very little rest is a really smart way to program. And I think when we look at it in terms of overall program progression, at some point your training volume needs to progress in order to continue to build muscle. So rather than just adding on endless sets and just adding more time to your workout, if we can make our training more efficient, we can simply just do rest pauses, we can do drop sets, we can do alternate paired sets where we do more work or even the same work just in far less time. Alrighty guys, that is us wrapped up session 1 of week 1 of this new improvement phase, growth phase, massing phase, mesocycle pull session in the books. I think we're in tomorrow for some upper body again, which will be fun. But as always guys, it means a lot to me if you like, comment, share, and most importantly subscribe to the channel in order for us to keep making fun videos, and hopefully we'll have some more cool videos in some more cool gyms all across Europe and the rest of the world over the coming months. We found a really cool gym in Portugal that we will potentially be training in next week. And then it looks like we're in Cyprus maybe for a month or 2. So that'll be even more exciting to show you guys around there as well. But until next time guys, I'll see you probably, I don't know, maybe later this week. But peace.